Planning Commission meeting of May 24th, 2021. I now call the meeting to order. And with that, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I lost my chair. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes. Does anyone see any additions or correction to the minutes? Hearing none, I have a motion to approve. So moved, Scott Sergio. Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your hand. Those opposed? Okay. Minutes are approved. Next, we have citizens' comments for items that are not on the agenda. John, have you received any via email?
I have not received any written comments or any phone calls related to the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Okay. Is there anything on Facebook coming in? Okay, moving on. We will hear, is our Frederick County planner here? Okay.
Tim was unable to make it this evening. I apologize for not letting you know that in advance.
All right. And our Carroll County planner, Hannah. Hello, Hannah.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Well, thank you.
So I'll just do my quick updates first, and then I'll go into my presentation, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. So just two quick overall updates. As far as the residential text amendment, it is currently in the Planning Commission, and we are wrapping that up. We are using the month of June strictly for public comment. So we have just one more month left for the residential text amendment, and we are going to forward that to the county commissioners, hopefully in July or August, sometime this summer. And then next ongoing is a transportation master plan survey. We are in the very early stages of doing a transportation master plan, and we're using this time to for a survey just to get feedback from the citizens on roads and infrastructure that they travel and use a lot. That is found on our website, and it is live, and I think it is closing in sometime in June. I'm not sure the exact date.
Okay.
And then for my presentation, John, did you want to share the manual, or did you want me to share it?
If you can go ahead and share it from your screen, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not able to see everybody, so if you need me to stop, just yell at me and I will stop. So what we have is the guide to county and municipal planning processes. What we wanted to do was make a manual for both our staff and municipal planning staff on just some processes that we go through with planning. Of course, this is just like a side document, and all questions are happy to be answered throughout our department. This is just an assisting document. Since it is kind of a long document, I'm just going to go through the highlights of what it is and things like that. But if you would like me to go in depth further, then feel free to ask me to explain a bit more. So first, table of contents. We have 3 different sections with an appendix. We have the introduction, town to county processes, general reports, and the appendix A, town county agreements. So the introduction, we have the purpose of the manual, provide a guide for municipal staff and officials on county's planning related role in assisting and collaborating on various plans, projects, and planning related state mandates. The goal is to have this manual updated yearly with updates on projects and things that are ongoing throughout the department. Next, we have the town county agreements. Since this is referenced a lot throughout this manual, we thought it'd be good to include an excerpt about what the town-county agreements are. And we also included the language in Appendix A. We only included language pertaining to planning and development, since that is the only relevant language to this document. We have the county liaison to the Municipal Planning Commission. As you guys know, you have me as your liaison, and these liaisons are responsible for attending these planning commission meetings, providing updates about what's going on at the county. We're responsible for reviewing development plans. We are the first point of contact for any planning related questions you guys may have. And this is how we have split up the county for our planners. So getting into the thick of it, the town and county processes, we have municipal annexations. We lay out what the annexations are, what is needed on behalf of the municipality to the county, going into detail about the zoning waiver and what it is, when it is needed. What happens at the county level when we are reviewing an annexation petition, and what is needed on behalf of the municipality after the annexation is approved. Then we have resources, just a flow chart, kind of putting it in prettier words on how to follow the annexation process, and also resources that are found on our county planning department website. Next, we have the fall and spring water and sewer amendments. We have what the amendments are, the deadlines for both fall and spring amendments, the process and processing the amendments, and then again, just a flow chart to make it easier to follow the process. The triennial update occurs every 3 years. We go into detail about what it is, how the towns are involved with this plan, and then what is updated with the triennial update, which is the planned water and sewer service areas. Review of development plans. As I said earlier, the plans are distributed based on the geographical areas of responsibility for the planning staff. When we have these plans, we review it for consistency with applicable plans and the master plan. TRC meetings, count and county review, kind of putting all of the comments together at the TRC meetings. Resources found on the Bureau of Development Review website. Next, we have the State Consolidated Transportation Program, or the CTP. We have what the priority letter is, the dates that they occur, how the towns are involved, and the CTP pre-tour and tour, which involves the Maryland Department of Transportation and their presentation of the CTP report. Going on to general reports, we have the annual report, which is ongoing, what it is, how the towns are involved. And I also included the municipal information templates that are supposed to be submitted on behalf of the municipalities to the county. And this is the information that we put into the annual report each year. We have master plan updates, both for the county master plan and the municipal master plans, what they are and how the towns or the county is involved. Lastly, the transportation master plan. As I said in my updates, we are still in the very early stages of the transportation master plan. So as an example, this is something that will be updated next year when we update this manual for where we are in this process next year. And then lastly, as I said, we have Appendix A, the town-county agreement. And that is it. I realize it's a lot of information. So if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or if you need some time to digest the manual, and you can email me with any questions you have, that is also welcome, of course.
Hannah, I want to thank you and the Carroll County Planning Department for putting this together. I think this will help us in the long run and keep us more informed and hopefully understand what the county does and how we relate to the county. The town-county agreement language was very interesting to me because, you know, I might have some questions later. I don't know, does anyone have any questions for Hannah at this time? We might have some next time. I'm not sure that we read it totally. I didn't really delve into it. I did read it for this evening, so we can read it and come back next week. But
Absolutely.
thank you for that. That was, I think that'll be a great help. Thank you a lot.
Good. Yeah,
Yep.
like I said, I know
Thanks.
it's a lot of information, so take as much time as you need.
Okay. Did you have a question, Leslie?
No, I was just saying, thanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a lot,
Awesome.
I haven't. but
Yeah, it was good to put that together.
It's good reference. Good reference.
Uh-huh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Hey,
thank you.
Roxanne,
Yes.
I just wanted to say, Hannah, thanks a lot for doing a great job on that. And I'm sure I'll be reaching out to you. I just had an applicant come in not too long ago about annexing a piece of property into the town. So I'm sure I'll be using your handbook. And I also wanted to
Good, that's what it's there for.
let everybody know Carl Munder is our new council member liaison, and he of course is in this meeting as well. And you had your finger up, Carl, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
what you need.
There, yes, thank you, John, and thank you, Hannah, for that presentation. Hey, Hannah, I just have
Yeah.
one question for you, or a request
sir.
more so. When you get a chance, could you send me the, I want to say the letter that the Carroll County Commissioner sent to the State Highway Transportation Projects in the county?
The priority letter?
Yes, the priority letter,
Okay.
please. I know
Yes.
Frederick County did something similar to me,
Yes.
so.
We actually just wrapped that up. In the manual, it says the pre-tour dates, I think it's sometime near the end of the year. And that's kind of when everybody meets and they go over what was shared, but I'll be happy to get you a copy of what we sent in.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd just like to see what the priorities are for the county right now.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we have the discussion, an introduction of AP-19-0028. That's Ridgeville Heights, track 1 and second track. We are in existing lot of record and a lot line relocation. Let me get that out. John, do you want to go through the staff report, please?
Yeah, no worries. Again, this is 2 lots of records along South Main Street. The owner of the property, the house was built on the actual property line of the 2 lots. He had an adequate amount of property to be able to adjust the lot lines, move one of the parcels to the front, and then the first track going towards the rear, still providing adequate road frontage for subdivision of the property. The property was signed at the beginning of last week to notified residents of the proposed annex or the proposed amended plat. And we also have Ron Thompson here, which was the engineer of record, to answer any of your questions you might have, or I can answer any of your questions you might have related to the subdivision. Ron, do you have that file you could bring up and just share real quick?
I do not, John.
Okay.
That one I
Well,
did.
again, there's a large section that's being donated to State Highway right along South Main. And again, the existing house and all the existing structures are going to remain on the property. They're still going to be able to meet all the setback requirements for the existing home and also the new parcel for construction of a new residence at that location of track 1.
So I have
You
a
guys have any-
question, just
Go
to
ahead.
clarify, unless Ron was gonna say something, and then I might not have a question.
I don't think
I just
so.
want to clarify. So they moved the house because it was over 2 plats. And now there's a second plat, and the purpose sort of is to build this, just a second single family home. Is that what you're saying? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I
I'm not sure if the intent is to build a second family home potentially, but right now the lot line runs down between the house and the garage and other parcels. So it's a rather just discontinuous type of lot arrangement at this point in time.
Okay, so he or she, the owner, just wants to put the house on one lot, and then there's a separate lot.
Yes,
All
put
right.
all the
Okay.
buildings, right now there's essentially 2 lots and they want to put all the buildings on one lot.
Okay.
Reorganize it. trying to
And
find
then-
the plan, actually.
And the existing house does not face South Main Street. It faces Fairwood Avenue Lane, is that correct?
No,
That is,
Or is it facing South Main Street?
I believe it faces South Main Street.
yeah, the entrance to the property is off of South Main and the front of the
Okay.
house is facing South Main.
Is it an older home? Am I thinking of the right house then?
Yes, it
Kinda
would
hid-
be.
It's kind of hidden by trees. It's really tough to see it from South
Okay,
Main.
I know exactly, okay.
And again, I'm recommending approval of the amended plat and the lot line relocation.
Okay, and then if they build on that,
They'd have to meet all the setback requirements for construction of a new house on the property. And it would come through us and Carroll County building permits for approval, make sure it does meet all the requirements.
where would the entrance to the house be?
It'll come off of Fairwood and that'll be,
Okay, that's all
it
right.
has 100 foot of it has 100 foot of road frontage to allow for.
Okay, I see that, okay, okay. Does anyone have any questions? Any other questions? Do I hear a motion for approval? All right, I move that we follow the staff recommendation and approve the amended plat for Ridgeville Heights, Track 1 and Second Track AP-19-2008, provided that all the town and county agency comments are addressed and SHA parcel is recorded with this amended plat. Is there a second to this? There's a second. Leslie, your hand was up first. All those in favor of the motion I just read, I'm not going to repeat it right now, signify by saying aye or raise your hand. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we will go to the Green Tree, the pattern book and site development plan. And before we do the staff, before we do anything with the staff, I think we need to discuss, this is for the text amendment. This is not, this is the text amendment MCUU.
MXUCC overlay.
The overlay.
The special exception in the CC zone, MXU.
Which is why I have my questions that I emailed, but you probably didn't see them because it wasn't until 6:30.
Yeah, I think he read, I think we read them.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, I read some of them.
I read
So,
some of them as well.
Thank you.
So again, and I'll answer that real quick. As I read through the code, it does talk about a pre-concept sketch layout, which you did get. Right? That
Right.
would be the packet drawing. The pattern book doesn't really have a clear definition of when it's supposed to come in. So I think having it along with the pattern, with the sketch layout helps define exactly what they're proposing. And we have to be really careful because again, this is the first one as we move towards potentially the MXD. It's going to run the same similar course. The town staff has already reviewed the pattern book and the site plan. The engineer has made changes based on the comments generated from myself and Barney and our staff. At this point in time, this is being presented to you for reference to the whole parcel. And again, it's going to be forwarded to the Board of Appeals to have that special exception reviewed and potentially approved.
Yeah,
It's
I
up
was
to the
just
time.
partly wondering why they would do that so early, considering like it has to go to the town council and have a couple of hearings, and then possibly there'd be changes that would have to be made. So I was just kind of surprised to have a pattern book at this early stage. But I guess that's just the way they decided to do it.
Well, and again, the chances of the special exception not being approved since it was previously approved.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the special exception. I'm talking about all the processes that have to occur. Because remember that town council wanted to take control of the process, and then we had that whole discussion, and then, so now we have a joint process of the planning commission and town council, and, made it more cumbersome.
But it was still supposed to go in front of the planning commission first. always.
Right.
Pretty
Oh,
sure.
yeah, it is. I'm just saying that ultimately, after the town council, after all this other extensive processes occur, there might have to be more done on the pattern book. That's all I'm saying. So I was surprised that there was a pattern book at this early stage. That's all. It's
Well, I
just
think the
my
pattern
own-
book actually defines a lot of the information. Let's
Anyway,
let
we can
Ron,
go on.
let's let
Yeah.
Ron talk about it. Go ahead, Ron.
I think to answer some of the questions, when we started to work on the project and redo it as an MXU with special exception, the first part of that was to do a pattern book, which then allowed for planning commission review and input. It allows for town council. And there needed to be a document in which somebody could react to. And part of what was required or laid out in the overlay district is you have to also look at architecture for the buildings, which this booklet addresses. So we saw the process in sitting down with the town staff. John, correct me here, but was to start with the pattern book, hopefully get an approval to go to a special exception. And then with the pattern book and a special exception approved, there would be a series of hearings conducted by the planning commission. Hopefully not too many, but whatever, because we'll have one for the special exception. And then ultimately coming out of that is a final pattern book based upon comments that are received. And then that pattern book and pattern sketch plan sets the basis for moving into the concept plan, which is then the detailed grading and really the detailed stormwater management, which now has to be designed to almost 90% at concept stage.
Mhm.
So this is a way of laying it out for everybody to see and react to, which is the way that we felt the ordinance read for it.
Okay, thank you. So yes, thank you for the clarification.
Thanks. There is one thing, Tom, I'm going to ask you, looking through. So the point of us today is to just look at this and refer it to the Board of Appeals for their approval of a special exception. There's one question I have. They're talking about the on page 5 of the pattern book. It talks about the building restriction lines, and that in the front, the building restriction line we have is their building restriction line is good. It's much more than ours. However, the rear is only 25 feet, and ours, I just lost it, John, because I had
So,
it.
no, I can say what you're saying, Roxanne. So
Yeah.
ultimately, we have a 55-foot building restriction line. What Ron is proposing is to shift that restriction line so that we have a larger front yard, a smaller backyard where the driveway enters into the garage. So we don't have excess vehicles being compiled up behind somebody's house. And it gives more of a front yard and more of a homier feel than
True,
the large
but-
backyard that backs up to an alley.
Right,
I
but
think,
what I'm
Ron, you can speak for that if you want, but go ahead.
Yeah, but what I want to say is our building line restriction is 40 feet. And here, the building restriction line that they're going to use for the townhouses is only 25 feet. So that also would have to go to the Board of Appeals. Can we take both of those things to the Board of Appeals at one time, Tom?
Yeah, I think there's nothing preventing that. So you've got two things going on, of course, the special exception And then I guess a variance on the rear building restriction line. Remember that in both of those instances, under our code, normally you'd have a filing at the appeals, and then the Board of Appeals would refer it to the Planning Commission for recommendation. And then it would go back to the Board of Appeals for a hearing, and, you know, a vote to approve, presumably. Here, this is kind of working a little bit in reverse, but I don't see anything in the code that says it can't work this way. Since this comes first before the Planning Commission, by way of suggestion, it may be more efficient to forward this, as you put it, to the to the Board of Appeals with that recommendation, so that it doesn't bounce, you know, to and fro, you know, then go back to the Board of Appeals and bounce back and, you know, all that stuff. It may be more efficient.
So that would save 2 months in the process, basically.
That's what I'm trying to do is to, you know, it seems more efficient to me.
So I have a question. So do we have to have a recommendation for both the reduction in the rear setback and also for the Board of Appeals special exception to be forwarded to the Board of Appeals for the special exception?
Correct.
Okay.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So what you're saying, Roxanne, I mean, I read this, page 5, and I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but is there, so what you're saying is there's a 40-foot buffer, which would this decrease the entire buffer, or would just decrease the driveway?
Yeah, it's the driveway it's the rear.
No, right.
Setback we're talking about. The
I
rear,
know.
yeah.
So,
If I could, it would
Yes, please.
reduce. Yes, because they're conforming to the town code, the units do not front, or the garages don't front on the streets. They front on an alleyway, which I believe will be a private alleyway. Therefore, if we had maintained from the alleyway a 40-foot setback, we would have had 40 feet of pavement. People could have been parking RVs, boats, you name it, there, in there, as opposed to having a very clean and functional area. There was no room or area behind the units for green space. So rather than having that additional pavement, it was to make the back an appropriate parking driveway and add additional green space in front, which then goes to really that community of where people spend their time out in front of the homes, interacting as a community versus hidden in the backyard. And that was why we went with the requested setback changes.
So I understand that, and I think that's great. And so I completely get that the garages are in the back and the driveways in the back. So and the driveway is reduced to 25 feet. So I guess my question is, and then what's connecting, what are the townhouses backing up to other than the alley? Other townhouses or?
Townhouses on each side of the alley.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
If I could, I mean, I can show the plan here if you want, but
It's okay. I mean, I probably,
Or why don't you show it
but-
just for the public?
Oh, yeah, you could, yeah, show it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all the townhouses back up to other townhouses. And they would still be able to get a deck permit possibly.
right over
or
there,
a possible deck.
correct. I'm working on the share here. Hopefully you can see that. You can see that in most cases, an alleyway, and you have townhomes with their driveways on each side of the alley. You have a series of townhomes that front North Main Street with a yard and sidewalks out to the sidewalk, parking behind there. In just about every case, actually every case, we've double loaded the alleys.
Hey, Brian,
So
can you
that-
zoom in on just a set of the two sets of townhouses? It might be clearer.
How is this? John, better?
There you go.
So our design has a couple features to it. We've increased the area in front for green space. Tree planting, a boulevard. We've got the utility corridor that goes outside of it. It's just basically in back, an alleyway, about 24 feet in width, I think. And then our driveways, and in between the driveways, we'll probably have a little brick edging to differentiate between the driveways there on it. And one of the other features, but you could see that in the on page 5, is the offset of our townhomes to make it not look like a row house of townhomes.
Okay, yeah, I've seen this concept a lot, and it makes for definitely a cleaner subdivision. So we have comments coming in. Scott, do you have any of those coming in?
Well, again, we need to make sure that these, I'm sorry, but we need to make sure
Oh,
that
yeah, I'm
people are
sorry.
identifying themselves if they're in the town or out of the town. And
I did
again,
not do that at first, and I apologize. When
That's
you,
okay.
as someone listening, please, when you want to have a question asked, it's just like if you were here in the council chambers. Please state your name in your question as well as where you live or your address.
Roxanne,
Yes.
may I just add one, so that everybody is aware, as a MXU CC overlay, we have a commercial building up front, 2-story commercial building. That's kind of like the commercial plaza up front. And then there will be 70 units of market rate townhomes, not senior adult. That the previous proposal had 112 adult townhomes. This has been reduced to 70 to be able to provide a little over 3 acres per person, or per 100 people, I'm sorry, per 100 people
Right.
on the site.
And that is noted on the site plans.
hey, Roxanne.
Yes.
So I do see some comments coming in through the chatter box. So it is on our website currently. People can pull up the file to show the pattern book and also the pre-concept plan. So they'll be able to answer those questions. And I want to let people know also that this property currently is zone CC. So this property could be developed, the majority of the property could be developed as a complete commercial establishment. They're saying, why do we have to have a commercial element? Well, that whole parcel could be a commercial element. So we're actually, what they presented here is a much lesser commercial impact for that corner of Mount Airy. So I think what they, well, I just want to make that comment then, that it could be, the whole parcel could be developed in a commercial element. And this is a mix of, again, the MXU is a mix of commercial and residential.
Yeah, and Roxanne, this is Scott. There are quite a few, but since this discussion started, there's quite a few comments on Facebook, almost too many to go, like, to read to you. So I don't know how you want to proceed.
Is
Can
anybody
you do
giving
it by
their name?
topic? Can you do it
Yeah,
like
can
by,
you group the things together that, like,
Hey,
are
Hey,
they all?
Roxanne, question
Yes.
here. Since this is just an approval for the Board of Appeals right now, why are we almost having a public hearing on the design and site plan stage at this point in
Well,
time?
Carl, this isn't a public hearing because they haven't testified or anything. We allow comments at our meetings.
Okay,
So,
no, I'm
this
just
is part
saying,
of
but
it, and I don't,
if the comments are not related to the, what it's being heard on tonight, they should come back and do the comments when it's specifically related to the design of the site, more so than just trying to decide if this goes ahead to the Board of Appeals.
Well, first of all, that's a very bureaucratic way of presenting things because people, they hear about something and there's a pattern book here that shows the whole, a really good idea of what it's going to be. And maybe people are available tonight and they're not going to available other nights. And I just think that that's not appropriate.
Well, I'm aware of that, but if we start now, it's going to be a never ending he said, she said type battle on Facebook comments. We don't know if they're within the town, outside the town. And in reality,
well, that's COVID for you, right?
I don't care if it's
just got to
COVID or
deal with
not.
it.
It's the same thing happens at the public hearings. We need to stay focused. Roxanne, hold on. We need to stay focused on the topic that is before the commission tonight. There will be other opportunities for the public to comment, several more on the design and the layout.
Well, it's up to Roxanne, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just putting the opinion out there.
Well, I appreciate your opinion. We have worked this way in the Planning Commission as long as I have been here, and way before I was even the chairperson. We are listening to the comments. I want Scott to put them together in groups of subject. They know that they are going to be seeing this many more times, but I'm not going to turn them away.
All right.
For public I'm not going to turn them away because this is a public meeting.
That's fine.
Thank you.
You're
Scott,
welcome.
can you please group the comments together?
So I just grabbed a whole bunch of them and plopped them into our chat.
Okay.
So everybody can see them.
Well, and to Carl's point, I think, again, ultimately, it's great to hear this. And I do see some people are putting their addresses on there and their names so we can see who it is. But again, ultimately, it does have to get forwarded to Board of Appeals, and it is going to come back in front of us. It's going to be a public charrette that will be, open to discuss it. Citizens can come out to that. We'll probably end up renting the fire hall to support that. There'll still be a public hearing. Also, hopefully, either in June or July. And then we'll be then still having a potential meeting with a workshop with Town Council and Planning Commission, which will be a public hearing as well.
Okay, one of the questions was, is this 100% go? No, it's not really. We have to go through certain processes, one of which is to get the special exception. And that's why we're meeting tonight to agree on approval to send it to the Board of Appeals. Once the Board of Appeals comes back with it, there are many different ways that the community is going to be able to make comments on this project. There will be a joint workshop. There will possibly be a charrette, which you will be able to attend. I can't give you date, time, or information about it. You will have to keep track of it through the website and the Mount Airy Facebook page, not the Mount Airy Town Facebook page, as to the availability and when this will be done. There will be time for more comments. The developer is here with Ron, and I'm sure he will listen to the comments, and if there are things that he feels, corrections that need to be made, we will do them at that time. Someone asked about the open space. The open space is
Open space.
Open space.
Ron, can you show, can you show the open space?
And can I kind of go through the comments quickly?
I
Would
don't
that
know.
be- I'm looking at the chat here and the ones that Scott posted. I mean, you gave a great description of the process, that we have a lot of hurdles to go over, many steps in the process. This is the initial. Somebody asked about why can't it only be houses? The code requires 25% of the area or the development to be commercial, and up to the minimum 75 or 25% commercial and up to 75% residential. So we have to have something at the intersection there. Yes, everything is online. The setbacks do not increase the density of the development. They are only setbacks within the lot themselves as to where the townhomes are positioned. We're not planning Section 8 housing. It is market rate housing for it.
People also can testify at the Board of Appeals. So whatever
Mhm.
happens, if we recommend this to the Board of Appeals, positive recommendation, there will be a hearing at the Board of Appeals, and people can sign up and testify at the Board of Appeals. And also there was one other thing that, I forget, right.
So Ron's brought up the open space parcels that are at the rear of the property and across the utility easement, showing steep slopes. You can go ahead.
So basically, we're leaving, there is a forest conservation being added to this area here. Throughout much of it will be forest conservation. Part of our open space does include a playground for the development, some type of path that'll take us back along the utility corridor and then allowing people to return. And there may be other features that come out as part of the concept design here, but it clearly, we had to have, out of the 18 acres, pardon me, we have a little over 6 acres that is open space in the project. The pattern book does encourage everybody to go on the town website and the Planning Commission where this is posted. I believe it's under the Planning Commission, but we do have colored drawings of the pattern book plans as they are, as well as architectural elevations for the commercial center and the townhomes.
I have a comment, Roxanne.
Yes.
Actually, I have two. I was just going to remind people of what Rox said at the beginning, is that this parcel is currently zoned commercial, community commercial. We can't really tell you why, because it was annexed into the town years ago and it came in that way. I mean, that was the agreement at the time. So if it's not mixed use, it could be, in fact, it was potentially going to be a shopping center, years ago. So it's somewhat of a compromise. And you will get more open space in this scenario. But of course, what I would like to bring up is something that I think is relevant to the Board of Appeals, which is the extension of Scotch Heather north onto this property, which when we discussed this, I guess it was 2018, the Planning Commission agreed that that should be opened up. And then apparently the staff changed that recommendation when it submitted our recommendation to the Board of Appeals. And, we're talking about, I mean, the good thing is it's only 70 townhouses, but there's going to be a commercial element. And so you've got all the traffic onto Main Street and Candace, and nothing. I don't think people are going to be using this as a cut through to Summit Ridge. But if somebody is in Green Tree and wants to get to Summit Ridge, then that should be an available opening. And as many of you recall, when Jennifer Smith was on planning, and of course is still on Streets and Roads and is a street and roads engineer, she always said the more options, the better. The more ways that you can get somewhere, because then you prevent or you reduce backups and congestion. So I don't understand why that was changed when the planning commission recommended that it be opened up.
I don't think there's a current planned major street to go through there currently.
It was when we first did this, a long time ago, John, you weren't here.
But
Oh,
in
yeah.
the 2013 master plan, it doesn't show.
Hey, John,
Actually-
Tom might be able to clarify that. I believe during the discussions prior, wasn't there some type of agreement and when this parcel came into town that prohibited the extension?
Yeah, it was
comments?
an under the table agreement that
Leslie,
Summit Ridge entered
Leslie?
into
Let
their
it- Leslie, you
HOA.
need to let
do
him
not
finish.
start saying under the table, okay? That's your own personal opinion.
No, actually, I've heard it. There's a lot of history around here you don't know, Carl, and please
Well, I
don't.
might know that, but,
Carl, do not treat me like
Sorry,
your child.
sorry.
You're not running this meeting. You know, if you want to talk, then ask Roxanne if you can talk, but do not speak to other people like that. We're all adults here.
Then speak clearly and leave your opinions out of it.
No, look what you're doing. Roxanne, can you say something to
Yeah,
him?
I'm
It's
gonna
very
say something right
inappropriate.
now. We're gonna stop talking about the Scotch Heather. We can't seem to talk nicely and politely to one another. So I'm gonna ask for a motion. I'm sorry, the public has to deal with this. I'm gonna ask for the motion right now to, we're gonna give it, send it to the Board of Appeals. The staff has asked for a favorable recommendation to be forwarded to the Board of Appeals for the consideration of a special exemption, MXD-CC for this development.
MXU, I'm sorry.
MXU-CC for this development.
Yeah, but Roxanne, now you're cutting off debate on an issue that
I understand,
hasn't been resolved.
but, okay.
That's not part of this.
Well,
There's a motion
well,
on the
Meeting right
table.
now.
Hold on,
Well,
please,
the
I'm running
question-
it. Leslie, the
Yes.
motion's on the table. Is there a second? Seeing no second, the discussion will continue.
Thank you. John, the reason it's relevant is in the prior decision and the prior recommendation that went to the Board of Appeals in 2018, it had a recommendation from the staff to not extend it. So it's relevant at this point to make that decision. And the thing is, it's like, regardless of, you know, what happened when this was annexed in, we're talking about changing the zoning. So we can make the decision like we did in 2018
I'll
to
let
have,
Tom had his finger up, so he
Yes.
has something to add.
So to explain what happened on that was that in the annexation agreement, and I believe from memory, in the annexation resolution that got passed, it expressly stated that Scotch Heather would not be extended. That was a condition of the annexation. I don't believe it was staff per se that just made the decision at the recommendation from planning to Board of Appeals be changed. It was in recognition of the fact that since annexation is a legislative action undertaken by the town council, which it had done subject to that condition, that only the town council could remove that as a condition. So that's what occurred. Again,
that
Oh my-
may be
that's
what
my
occurred.
opinion too.
That may be what occurred initially. However, we could not find, because we had this whole discussion 2 years ago. The only thing that we found was minutes from a meeting. We did not find, and if you have it, that's great. But
yeah,
we
I'm
did
going
not
from
find the
memory.
we did not find the annexation agreement with that language in it.
Yeah, I'm going from memory, so we'll pull it out. But from my memory, is sitting right in the annexation agreement, and I
Okay, if you
believe,
have it, because we
in the
couldn't find it
resolution.
last time. And if it's in there, that's fine, but we
Yeah.
could only find, and I'm sure that I looked, but I know that we found minutes and didn't find anything else. So if you have it and
Yeah.
you can find it, then that's a different story.
yeah,
So
it's been a
Roxanne, what
while. I'll do that. I'll pull it and
Okay, thank you. Roxanne, what I propose then is to, if you want to have a motion to recommend, is that we put in there that this, at this point, is an undecided issue. Until Tom can find the annexation agreement. How is that for a compromise?
We can send it to the Board of Appeals with a favorable or unfavorable recommendation. I don't think we can send undecided. Can we do that, Tom?
No, that would be favorable. It would be fair, well, I don't know if everybody's in favor of it. Well, maybe I'll just make the motion then, unless there's more discussion.
I just want to say one thing. There's still a lot of comments coming in.
Okay.
One
then let's
person
wait.
said, well, no, I just want to clarify. Yes, the sign did say we were going to discuss the pattern book.
Yeah.
And maybe it should have been said we were going to discuss the process to discuss it going to the Board of Appeals. We didn't necessarily want a whole discussion, but because there were a lot of people asking questions, we continued the discussion. The one question someone said, asking about why don't we do single family homes there? Well, because in the MXD, in the text amendment, I don't think it says specifically for single family homes, but what we're trying to do is in planning, we have been sprawled out for a very long time. And now the planning, the planning is going in the direction of putting your housing kind of in one area to try to get some open space instead of sprawling out on the larger single family lots. We also know that during our downtown zone recommendations, even though this is not necessarily in the downtown zone, but we did learn a lot about Mount Airy in the fact that, yes, we do have many single family homes. There aren't a lot of townhomes, and they tend to be less expensive than the single family homes. And we're trying to get newer we're trying to get younger family members here in the town so that the town will continue to grow. That's not to say that there's Section 8. That's not to say that they're affordable housing. They are going to be market rate houses. I understand that some people don't necessarily want the townhouses by where they live, but this is what the developer has come with. This is what the developer wants to do, and it is his land. That's all I'm going to say. The discussion is finished. Leslie?
I have a comment regarding the townhouses. The Maryland legislature has, passed as part of our land use planning and the master plan that this town and every other jurisdiction in Maryland needs to be looking at affordable housing and workforce housing. So I think that the Planning Commission should be very mindful of that, and as well as be mindful of the Fair Housing Act and be, when we're discussing these issues. And yes, there certainly should be housing available in Mount Airy that isn't, 300 to 600,000 and more. People need to be able to afford to live in Mount Airy. And I was even going to ask, I'm glad there are townhouses, but these days, even those, are getting to be 300,000. So hopefully they'll be a little bit more affordable than that. And anyone who has a Section 8 voucher and is able to port it or get it from the Westminster Housing Authority or whatever, they could bring it right down here and they can rent any house that they can afford with their 30% of their income. So please do not say that people can't use vouchers. No, this housing is not built with will not be built with project-based voucher money. But if somebody can take their voucher and move into it, then they can move into it.
If they can afford the house, yes, that's correct. So those, the one other thing, this is a different developer. This is not the same developer that started this project. So that's another reason why we had to bring it back all up again. But it was still approved with and we're going to the special exception. So Leslie, at this time, if you want to make a motion. I don't know where she went.
Leslie, you're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, I was looking at the staff report, which I have on my computer. So I'll just be back in a second. I'm just looking at it.
Okay.
Roxanne, can I say one thing? It's nothing argumentative here. I'd just like to apologize to Leslie and you for my outbursts, and just, I'm passionate about this, and
Well, so
I'll
are
learn
we.
better after talking into
I
Robert's
understand.
rules of order.
Well, I understand, but we're passionate about this too. But we're also passionate about the fact that we try to give our residents the say that they deserve.
Yes.
I will, Ron, would
Okay.
you please introduce Mr. Potapan so everyone knows who this is? I think they're trying to find him on the internet, and they say he's from New Jersey. I know that's not true.
Frank is right next to me here.
Ron, you
and-
gotta stop sharing your screen.
Stop sharing.
Yeah,
Thank you. There we go. Frank is a local developer. He's been involved in development in the town of Mount Airy for 25 years. So, he has vested his time, energy, and money into the town of Mount Airy in various developments here. And he now, where before it was CBI development going to develop the parcel, he now has taken over as the sole developer for the Green Tree parcel. People have asked, well, hey, you had a special exception before. Special exceptions have time constraints on them. The previous special exceptions expired. So one of the reasons we're back with a redesign project, one was the comment of it's too dense of a development previously, didn't have enough open space. So we've taken care to provide a pattern book sketch plan that addressed many of those comments. Down the road, as the project moves forward, there'll have to be a traffic study done in the concept stage. There are many steps and hurdles that come as part of the process for it. And just one other note, this is on town water and sewer. So if people ask about what about my wells, there are no new wells being proposed in this development.
okay, Leslie.
Okay, I have one question, which is it MXU or MUX? Because there's two different ways in this staff report,
Yeah, that was a spelling error on my behalf.
which
That was
is
my bad.
MXU-CC.
it's MXU, right?
MXUCC.
Okay, that's what I thought made the most sense. Thank you. I move to give a favorable recommendation to the Board of Appeals for the MXUCC, let's see, Green Tree Village Concept Plan, P-21-0002. And I would like to include in the favorable recommendation that at this time there is no decision and no recommendation by the Planning Commission, and hopefully not by the staff, as to whether Scotch Heather will be continued north to this property.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We give a favorable recommendation of MXUCC Green Tree Village Plan to the Board of Appeals. And at this time, no decision by the Planning Commission or the staff as to whether Scotch Heather will be open. Is there? Go
Sorry,
ahead, Tom.
I have the resolution. I can share it if you'd like.
That's fine.
Let's see if I can
Let
find.
me second it, and then you can, while
Sorry.
you're looking, Tom. So it's been
My fault.
moved and seconded. All those,
Scott already seconded it.
right, I said it's been moved and
Oh, I'm
seconded.
sorry. I'm sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye, or raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those opposed? 1. So it passes with a favorable recommendation, 4-1. Whoever's writing the minutes, did you get all that in there? Okay, so here's the resolution that states,
This is resolution 2, and if you go to page 3, the following conditions are hereby imposed: the extension of Scotch Heather Avenue from the Summit Ridge development north to this project will not be constructed. I believe there's also the same or similar in whatever annexation agreement went with that. It's also in the minute. Leslie is quite right. It was also in the minute. I don't know if this originally said would be constructed. Somebody, in light of minutes, before this was all signed and voted on, put in not. But that's what I had remembered, and that's what I was referring to, this section right here. So.
okay,
Can you email that out or email it to Roxanne?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
I can't really see it. And that does not bar, I think you said something was crossed out, or I can't really understand.
No, I was just surmising
Oh,
that it's phrased very oddly. It says this Scotch Heather blah 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 will not be constructed. Normally it sounded strangely worded, so I don't know if a vote came out in the minutes and then they reworded the resolution. That's all I was surmising. That's what I was referring to.
Now that would not affect whether there'd be like a walking pathway or bikes or something
No.
like that.
Correct. I don't think so either. Yeah.
so at the same time, do we also want to send to the Board of Appeals the request for a variance at the building rear building restriction line from 40 feet to 25 feet?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll make that motion that we will also send to the Board of Appeals a request from the Green Tree Village plan.
Recommendation.
We're sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Appeals for a variance to the rear building restriction line from 40 feet to 25 feet. Who's the secretary? Do they want to read that back? Debbie, are you taking minutes?
Yeah, she'll be drafting the minutes based upon tonight's meeting.
Okay. All right, does everyone understand that motion? Do you want me to make it again? I will make it again. The VC is sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Appeals for a request for the variance to the rear building restriction line from 40 feet to 25 feet in the Green Tree Village development. Is there a second? Leslie seconds. Is there a All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those opposed? We have 1. Okay, this will come back many times. Please, public, keep an eye on the website as to the time for the Board of Appeals. That has to be determined. It will be on the calendar, so keep looking or call Town Hall and ask them if they know when the Board of Appeals will be meeting for this. Thank you all. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
you're
Thank you,
welcome.
Frank.
Thank you.
Moving on.
So again, we're going to be, let's discuss about the up and coming June Planning Commission.
And
Potentially might still be a remote because the council member and myself will be at a conference possibly, unless anybody has an issue with that. Still staying remote, at least for June, and possibly coming back into person in the July meeting. And also wanted to say the future, some of the future items. One of them is going to be Lot 32, which is a development plan that was actually approved about 6 years ago for Mount Airy collision, and then they came in and wanted to change that plan that got approved, and then they tried to change it again. That plan expired. They didn't ask for extensions, so they have to start the process all over again. So this is and the building changed for the third submission, and now it's back to pretty much the same original building that was first presented and approved. So I'm hoping to be able to bring that to you in the near future. And there's other projects, but they're sort of on the outskirts. I didn't want to put them on the agenda for tonight, but did want to ask about the Zoom meeting for next month, what everybody's thoughts were. It looks like we could move it to the 21st. Doesn't look like we have another meeting already scheduled for the 21st. If I think we are starting to do in-person meetings at Town Hall, and that might eliminate this Facebook rhetoric because we won't be broadcasting Facebook Live if we're in person, is the last thing I was told.
John, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't meet in person.
Okay.
so that would change as till the 21st of June.
And that's fine. I just need to make, changes to the website and all that, which we can easily do tomorrow morning, but I just wanted to get everybody's thoughts and, positions.
You guys can meet in person. I'm not comfortable with it one bit.
Okay. And that's 1 yay and 1 nay.
I'm fine in person. Does anyone else have an objection?
Well, Lindy, we can possibly attempt to try to do a Zoom meeting with you so you can be part of it. I'm not sure. That might be a delicate dance between the multiple medias, but
I think we have to.
I mean, we probably should learn how to blend our meetings. Should we, somebody be on travel or something like that? Given the fact that we're kind of we're moving to a virtual existence here, just in life in general. We probably should experiment with that. And, if Lindy wants to, be remote, then she should be able to do that. So we can talk about how to do. But
Right, and I'll be glad to roll whatever. I mean, I have an IT person in the house, so I can kind of with him advance.
Yeah. So let's
Right.
see if we can experiment with that. Just given, in general, if we need to do something like that. But one thing that we shouldn't do is have it open to other folks other than Lindy or anyone else who wants to be remote. Like not a virtual meeting where people
Right.
can come in and present
Yes.
and
yeah.
comment. Like everybody who has to comment or has other business, only the only the commission or staff would be remote, should they want to be. But the public needs to come in if they want to come in, because we can't have a blended virtual world with a real world. But it's good for our commission folks and staff that need to be remote. We really should have a hard line with that.
Well,
And
and I
the
think that-
teachers have been doing it,
Right.
teaching in class
And
and
I think
online.
that,
at the same time.
I think Tom and John will give this to David, the administrator. I think it's eventually up to the mayor, if I'm not mistaken.
This shouldn't,
I don't think he needs to govern our individual meetings.
this shouldn't be difficult. I mean, Lindy can be at, we can dual box the presentation on the computer.
Yes, I know that, and I'm all for that, but I know that we have to get them in the loop, okay, to be above board and everything.
And I can do that at the staff
Yeah.
level. Again, I
I'll
mean,
do that.
we could easily possibly project her up onto the projector screen. So she can be huge and then.
Real big, like bigger than life size.
Right, so again, I mean, I understand trying to work through this. So I guess my question is then we are gonna try to go on the
June the
21st.
21st, 7
going live.
o'clock.
Yep,
Roxanne, I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes,
I have a question about the planning workshop. And I think you said that the Economic Development Commission was coming to the next one, is that right?
that's correct.
they are
And
coming.
That could be in person. Or
So
that
I
might be a great opportunity to try to do this video thing if we can try to do that with Lindy on the 3rd.
So I was wondering if we can invite, since you mentioned David, if you could invite David to that, because my understanding is he's had some ideas about Main Street and economic stuff and the bank building, and maybe he can, participate in that workshop. Since I've never met him. Yeah, I don't think he's
Maybe-
ever come to any of our meetings.
That might be in person. That might be a reason he doesn't want to be part of planning. I don't know. I can ask him.
Well, he
I can ask him.
probably should be familiar with planning.
I'm sure he is.
I think Monica was.
He could be watching right now. Doesn't look like it,
I think
but,
he does watch. He does
Okay.
watch. He just doesn't come on as a panelist.
He did. I thought when he first started, he did come to a planning
Yes.
commission meeting and introduce himself.
I have never met him.
Yeah, I've
Pretty
never
sure
met
he did. I thought he did, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I can reach out to him and see what his thoughts are there. Again, there is a person who is actually looking at the bank building currently for a possibility of putting a business in there. They're in a process working with the landowner, going through a fact-finding exercise to find out if it's fiscally responsible for them to do so. But I have a plan on my desk that they sort of presented. We had a pre-app with them last week, not a pre-app, but pre-discussion meeting with possibly what could be done at the bank, how long it's going to take, what improvements are going to have to happen for that bank to be able to be opened into a business. And one of the biggest ones came up is offsite improvements to Prospect Road and Main Street. So they're going to have to do some improvements there, which would be a right turn lane, a left turn lane, and a full movement onto Prospect.
What type of a business?
I'm not going to say right now.
I would think that in terms of improvements, the town might want to, the town, I would hope at this point would like to incentivize somebody opening a business there. So I
I'm
think
sure
that would be-
that's part of the discussion, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
That's good. All right, thank you.
When I know something that's concrete, I'll bring it to you. But without knowing, I don't want to speculate.
Correct. And it's also sometimes the people, because of the commercial aspect, there's a lot of, they don't want things out in the open yet until they finally decide. It's kind of confidentiality agreements that have been signed and trying to meet with. We also, on June, our next workshop is scheduled for June the 3rd, which could be live. And I think that when you talk to the staff, John, tomorrow, I think we want to try to do it hybrid so that we can include everybody. It does start at 6 o'clock, from 6 to 8 we'll run. So let's try to figure something out so that we can include everybody in that meeting.
So we have one person that's not going to be attending in person.
Yes, at this time, yes.
All right, I'll forward you the invite to that work session, Lindy, and then we'll attempt to.
We just have to figure out how to get her broadcast publicly, because this is a public meeting. We have to do something, so we're gonna have to figure that out.
I'm on it.
That's the
Roxanne,
issue. That's the
Roxanne,
issue.
Roxanne, I'm on it.
Okay,
Okay, I got it.
okay.
Sorry, I think I missed why the June meeting will have to be the 21st.
Because I and the councilman will be out of the building, so we could have stayed virtual for the 28th.
It's the MML. Just say what it is. It's the MML. Is that?
All right, it's MML.
But would it normally be the 28th?
Correct, it would be.
Okay. I won't be able to be there, just so you know, on the 21st. That's what I was asking.
Okay. So again, back to that, we can still stay virtual for the 28th, because then we wouldn't have a quorum, right? Oh, no, I guess we
I
would.
think we need to keep it virtual then. Let's just keep it the last Monday, keep everybody. We'll do it virtual on the 28th of June.
Do you see the under the chat box? Someone was
Yes,
asking.
I
about
saw
that.
that. I saw that.
What's that?
It was a question and answer. He doesn't, because our meetings have been known to be the last Monday of the month, not to get people confused. The only time we have generally done it in the past is due to the holidays. So let's just keep it that way.
That's fine.
But let's try to do the workshop virtual. Hybrid, so we can
Okay.
see.
Okay, so on the 3rd, we'll do in person. If public has a comment, well, in work sessions, we don't take comments anyway. So we'll do the work session for the master plan on June the 3rd, starting at 6 p.m. It'll be live at Town Hall, except for Lindy. I'll send her a link, and we'll try to post her up on the video thing. And again, that can be simulcast through on the town website. Also, potentially CMC, I will have to reach out to them to see if they can broadcast it live. And then we'll go from there and see how well that works.
Correct. There's one thing that we did not do tonight that we were supposed to do, and that was to look at the, what was Mary on here for, John? I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
We needed to approve the, Hannah, there's Hannah. Can you
Can't hear
turn
you.
yourself up? We can't hear you.
Took your headphones out. Still nothing.
Yeah,
Still nothing.
her mute's off, but we still can't hear her.
Yeah, she had headphones in earlier.
She did. She did.
Second.
We'll wait for
Annual
you.
report. I'm
She's
sorry, it was the annual report.
Thank you.
That Mary was going to, but we had not received it yet. So we can still look at that on the 28th before she sends it to the state. So make sure that you look at that annual report. There you are, Hannah. Are you back? Can you hear us now? No, we still can't hear you. What's going on? So we will look at that meeting, and we need to sign off on it for the town
Hey,
of Mount Airy.
The way this meeting was today is the same thing my finance committee was this evening. You know, half people couldn't hear.
You just muted yourself. That was hilarious.
Okay, Now?
We can hear you. Yes.
Okay, now that we've moved on, it works.
But she said, Mary said that she doesn't take it to the state until July something, correct?
Yes, she will have to certify it with our planning commission first, which I believe will be on the 22nd.
Okay.
I'll have to make sure that she is available to meet in person on the 3rd, since you guys are discussing the hybrid. So I may have to get
Well, we're
back with
not,
you guys.
the 3rd is a workshop, so she doesn't have to be there. We wouldn't be discussing the annual report until the 28th. And that
But-
is gonna be live.
But
I mean, that's gonna be virtual.
Roxanne,
Yes.
so their date is the Monday or the Tuesday before that, correct, Hannah?
Correct.
So we would have to have, we can possibly do it at the beginning of the work session. I would defer to Tom to make sure. Is there a problem with us approving a document that goes to the state and to the county for final approval at a work session, or does it have to be in a public meeting like a planning commission meeting? Do we have to do what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, as long as you notice it and it's on the agenda and
Okay.
knows, you do not have to take public comment. So, but you
Okay.
do have to provide notice.
Okay. I'll
Okay,
post,
so
I'll post the front window. I'm
we'll
sorry.
do it on the 3rd, yes. So she can do either. She can be live or virtual on the 3rd.
Okay, I know last year you guys were able to send the signatures without meeting on it. I'm not sure if that's an option if she's not able to meet on Thursday, but I'm pretty sure she'd be able to. If not, I can be there.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
I'll make sure I forward whatever it is up
Yes.
to you guys tomorrow morning. The email.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn, or does anybody have any other business or question, anything else?
No, a motion to adjourn.
Okay, has been a move. Is it seconded? I'll give Lindy this time. You both raise your hand at the same time. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion is adjourned. Thank you all. I will see you on June the 3rd. Thank you.